Imagine a theory of narrative, and another, and another, and another. Imagine a theory of morning. It exists. Night all glossy, I could stage this. I could just stage this and stage this. And when the light hits the seagulls just so, it makes all of them look just like geese. It's good to make sweet generalizations, like light specific to winter will always graze over your bones. Beautiful talents come back through the front part, bronze bark in the daylight catching the wind. I could just stage this and stage this. And at exactly 3:15 p.m. this time of year, all the trees in the park just glow. Is the poem empowering or disempowering? I ask my students. I've started to think this. This is the best stupid question, as arbitrary and precise as anything. You can do this any time of the day. Sun's out in South London, and city gifts drift across the river, arriving like geese, too early and late. And history's citrus descending. Just say it, it sounds good. History's citrus descending, beginning with grapefruit and ending with lime. This is narrative. And this is the theory of the narrative. Late beach boys, world with a bite taken out of it. Beautiful talents moving slowly. At 4 p.m. I think about my life. I saw you, you know this, I saw you, ready to go in search of virtue, hauling all the winter work in stupid shapes, and I could save this. I could just save this and save this. Someone walks into the room and opens a book and says, you isn't a signal, it's order and love, it's the forecast, the forecast, the forecast. And shame is often beautiful. Vague speakable daylight, vague speakable day. This is from a sequence called Headphones from 2017. Damaged twin, you are my best twin, night faultless and nearly faithful. You're my voice or part of my voice, next to no good, next to no good, okay with fate, okay with that, bandaged in language like a bird. You're my best twin, night constant and thorough, night fateless and fake. You're my best twin, standing in the place of desire, tested in the place of love's allowance, worn away with damage and thinking of the heart's best thing, okay with fire, okay with that, with all the tender, all the friends I haven't seen defiantly in years, okay with years, you're my best twin, next to nothing but the sound of being tested by the day as it recovers and the night begins to turn and the traces of attachment start to burn. This is called Dial P for painting. It's called Dial P for painting. Acrylic singing the pictures, peach, crystal, and suspicious, struck by lightning, making plans to deface the grave of Ezra Pound in the dawn light. With our fingers double crossed and the air superstitious and the great fake lagoons, too yellow for schemes, the weird light humid and futile. Do you believe in salvation? Yes, sometimes. I get paint on my clothes on my own, a giant black phone and a giant hand pointing, and the pictures all singing us back. I should say thanks to Veronica Pulsova, my friend, whose painting is on the cover. It's called Throughout Building. Don't be sad and not know it. Unhappy turmeric, said a group of strangers in my dream. A boat called Jupiter Clipper, not in my dream, but all around it. A song full of facts for July. We were walking in South London, telling everyone's secrets on a boat called Jupiter Heatwave, reckless, relating the gestures of trust like a French poet. Chaotic adolescence. We were saving each other's lives, playing names for no one and nothing, on a boat called Jupiter Nothing. Love the skeleton first. At the end now, I'm going to read one longer poem called Ventolin, which I wrote just at the end of strikes back in March 2020. And so it's for the UCU trade union and asthma sufferers everywhere. Ventolin. What they like is direct sunlight, song like glue, and how much things cost if you want them to stay still and understand defeat this time less euphoric, the disaster too diffuse to just step into, racing to wake up before the market, admire the morning air and wolf it down, watch them coughing up, holding history by the hand with one hand, acute and unacknowledged, and with the other hand touching my face. Did you hear the one about the epidemic? Or the one about the epidemic and the state? I heard the one about the epidemic, a kind of ache, the same as always, lost to the weather and vague, to still want it like this, the parts of the language you do mouth to mouth to, most of you, and all the time, sticky on lookout for the gist. It never gets old. The prisoners in Modena and Brixton, the prisoners at Rikers, the debris, the missing and the message, what the messengers leave, this time this year, this time this month, this time this week, catching the difference, you tell it to a friend, complete and unretrievable, you patent the question and give it away. It gets old. Cut bleeding on the knuckle, stuck piling up rewrites. What you find on the floor just falls in to your lap like the head of a lover floating downstream. You spring the day back faultless, break off the brocade and taste of salt and aloe vera, taste of salt and aloe vera, taste of salt and aloe vera and alcohol. Lyric poetry and sobriety. It's okay. I wouldn't always recommend it, but it's okay. It took years, it took forever, it took all day, and now it's done. Keeping vigil at the end of the weird 2010s, spent a decade off my legs and necking aspirin while the sun played aspirin to the sky, said someone you don't know in some other blunt decade, also thinking of defeat. And have I been here before? Did we meet somewhere once? Did I say something terrible and brilliant? The glory in shame, the memory of sweat, and who is it deja vu will belong to? The thing is, you get older. Your friends die. You lose your sense of humor. You move away, and they also come back, weathered surface, rocky outcrop, tie a ribbon to the one you want to cut down, tie a ribbon to the one you want to leave. We were outside the British Museum, as unhappy as it's possible to be. We were drinking lime and soda, changing places in the world. What we wanted was the total break, but not like that. And not like this, hard to give a fuck about Etruscans, day colour of pigeons, more gloomy than bluish, keeping vigils what I said to the damage, and fuck a Virgil, and all the filled-in wish fulfillment of camaraderie, and camaraderie's paranoid after party, who heard a rumour of voting, and a rumour of death, and a rumour of choosing. Every time you check the news, you lose a life, and who the life belongs to, on the island, sinking into floorboards, more than what we asked for, less or less than nothing less than that, locked in song for chewed up evening, the mildest winter I remember, getting whiplash, had to learn it, had to sit through 1,000 odes to debt and business, 1,000 more to inattention, ill-advised attempts at imitation, fawning under ruthless supervision, tasked with brilliance in the fairest of the seasons and the season's fairest failures to transform. Spring, hand me my air horn, hand me the phone book, point to the beautiful world. You smell like sleep and nothing else, getting fainter all the time. What passes for midnight, moon clipped on the left, dark blue and familiar, windows open where I live in retribution, was the shadow for my friend all broken up before you split, slipped off, drew a line between the dying I tried to tell you. And now the light is dirty now, and now you turn a corner in your head and in the street, counting days lost to sickness, days lost to strikes, backwards from 10 and missed the target.